This week is Navy Week. It wraps up Sunday in Port Colborne with the commemoration of the Battle of the Atlantic. That was the longest continuous battle of World War II. We're with Jeff Seburn. He's a veteran and the first vice president of the Royal Canadian Naval Association, Niagara chapter, and also Mike Britton, who is the treasurer and also the MC of the event happening this weekend. Mike, just fill us in a little bit about the Royal Canadian Naval Association.
Right, so the Royal Canadian Naval Association, or RCNA for short, we are a Niagara chapter of it. There's 19 chapters all across Canada, so it's similar to a Legion in that it's about remembrance and honoring our veterans, but it's specific to the Royal Canadian Navy, the Allied Merchant Marine, and anyone who has served in a naval capacity. The mission of it is, of course, to support our veterans, to commemorate ceremonies like we're doing on Sunday, and also a bit of advocacy for veterans when needed. So that's.
And you yourself, not a veteran, but you are a civilian member of it.
Right, yes. So of course we have veterans who are a part of it, just like the Legion, but there's also civilian supporters. You know, I was brought into it for a different reason and just wanting to support our veterans.
And Jeff, you are a veteran. I know that you served on a submarine. We've spoken about that before.
That's right, yeah.
Tell me about your experience with the Navy.
Well, I started as an ordinary seaman on sonarmen and submarines. My submarine is actually a museum now down in Port Burwell. And after that, I was put through the university trained plan for non-commissioned members. They put me through Dalhousie University for geology, and I became a commissioned officer, and I went on to become what they call a maritime warfare officer. So I more or less drove or navigated the ship, and I did 2 tours to the Persian Gulf.
And retired now.
I'm retired now, yeah.
How many members of your local chapter have stories like yours?
Well, not too many. There's a few that were in the Navy, probably in the 50s and 60s. Some other ones are affiliated with cadets, and then other civilian members whose family was part of the Navy. And there's also folks from the Air Force, the Army, and so we have a variable kind of cross-section in our group.
Mike, this is one of the 2 biggest events. I think there's one other event that you do each year. Am I
Yeah, there's the Navy Week, which is all throughout the week. And just again, usually there's flag raisings and kicking it off and making sure that people are aware of what's going on. And then this is our capstone event, the Battle of the Atlantic commemoration ceremony, because it was the longest running battle of World War II, and that's why we marked that as a group. 4,400
Canadians, Jeff, lost their lives in this. Am I right?
Yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah. So probably on order of 2,000 members of the Royal Canadian Navy lost their lives. I think on the order of 1,700 merchant mariners lost their lives or were injured or were taken POW, and I think in upwards of 750 Air Force personnel also were casualties of the Battle
Why
of the Atlantic.
did this battle rage so long?
Essentially, it was a Herculean effort to get stores, supplies, ammunition, fuel, personnel, initially over to the United Kingdom, but then later on to expand the war into Fortress Europe and defeat Nazi Germany. So without that effort, without prevailing in the Battle of the Atlantic, the war in Europe would not have ended. And that was Churchill's biggest concern, was that Germany was going to starve the United Kingdom out.
Right, so it was a real strategic battleground, Mike.
Right, and there's many local connections, which is we always like to highlight.
Some of the ships were local.
Yeah, so 31 ships that were lost were actually went through these canals. They were canal ships, much smaller. Right. They really weren't supposed to be on the Atlantic, but they answered the call to support Britain, to support the motherland, and we lost over 200 sailors right from local Niagara ships and areas.
As you know, I've been at this event in its previous location at Navy Hall, and I know you're moving it around Niagara now, and I'm assuming that it's a similar kind of event. You're going to ring the bell, you're going to memorialize those ships that were lost.
Yeah, so the ceremony, for those who have attended a remembrance ceremony, there'll be a number of familiar ideas like the Act of Remembrance, you'll notice that, but we also have some Navy-specific aspects to it, which of course is the tolling of the bell for each of the ships lost, the Canadian ships that were lost. There's also the carnations that are being thrown into the canal. Just the location of the event for those who are coming is right across from the Smoking Buddha restaurant.
It's a good landmark to
Yes,
throw
yeah,
out
right
there.
across the street, the quay side of the Welland Canal. And so we'll be throwing carnations in as the bells toll to mark the lost ships.
Do we have a special guest speaker as you've had in previous years?
So we have representatives from a number of different naval associations, some mariners, things like that, who are coming, and we'll be doing parts of the ceremony.
Jeff, I've got to ask you what time it starts, not just for the viewers, but for us here, because we are going to be there on Sunday, and we are going to re-air this on Thursday, May 9th. So what time do we need to be there for?
It's going to start at 1 p.m. or 1300 for us folks in the Navy.
1,300 hours. Am I saying that right?
That
Yeah.
sounds right to me.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. Again, this Sunday, May 5th in Port Colborne. Thank you.
Thank you.